right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rekakwadash, double honor to my apostles and elders at Great Millstone who do rule and teach well, and peace and salutations to all you Akim out there pushing this truth across the four winds so we can seal the elect and make it to the kingdom. All right, it's the brother Yurah, Lord willing, coming back to you through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Lord willing to feed the body and edify the sheep in our spirit, faith, truth, sincerity, and doctrine. All right. And you see with the title, all right, we're back with another reality check through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right. Because prophecy is reality and reality is prophecy. Okay. And this is something that, our people, two-thirds of the nation of Israel, you so-called blacks, Latinos, Native and Seminole Indians, all right, have been running away from here in Babylon the Great. Okay, this circus called America, all right, full of distractions and a lust and desires. Okay, you are now having to deal with reality, which is prophecy. Okay, so going into the title, all right, grindings or the grinders ceasing. Okay, and here's an example of that. This will be a quick lesson through the spirit. And Lord willing, it's edifying to the body, and it feeds the sheep through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. All right. And this is another example of the grinding ceasing. Okay. All right. And we'll get that word. Matter of fact, let's just go ahead and grab the scripture first. All right. Let's see. Let me share the screen. All right. Here we go. All right. Make sure we're on. There we are. Okay. Hey, the water Yahweh Shai. All right. So this is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12 and verse 4. And it reads, and the doors shall be shut in the streets. All right, it's talking about the streets of America. Okay. All right. When the sound of the grinding is low. Okay. When you go into that word grinding, all right, you see, well, actually, you know what? Let's keep reading. It says when the sound of the grinding is low, okay. It says he shall rise up. All right, talking about you people. Okay, you're gonna rise up, all right, at the voice of the bird. You're gonna rise up early in the morning, right? Which is usually the time where people they go to work. Okay. It says, and all the daughters of music shall be brought like, wait, matter of fact, I think I'm gonna start up. Salakia. I started at the wrong precept. Salakia. Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 3, and it reads, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble. Okay, it's talking about, these Edomites, these heads of these different corporations and companies, like Walmart, Google, and etc. All right, it says, and the strong men shall bow themselves. Okay. Why would a person bow themselves? Okay. All right. When they're in a state of a sadness, okay, mourning, grief. All right. Which is basically going to be caused by what? The economy. Okay. The economy being terrible. All right. You see, along with other things. It says, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. Okay. You see, but the grinders, when you go into that word grinders, all right, here we are. It's the Hebrew word, all right, takan. Okay, takan. All right. And you see it means what? It means that being their employment. Okay, so it's talking about having a job, okay, having a career, all of these things, where you can go provide a service. All right, you could provide your time and your effort, all right, to provide a service and get paid from it. All right, those opportunities are going to be low. All right, there's not going to be any jobs out here, man. Okay, and it says, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. Okay, there's not going to be any more plans for the future. Okay, I'm going to stack my money up so I can buy this new car. Well, you're not even going to know if you're going to be able to get any money to even stack up. All right, to go on that vacation or that girl's trip, right? So this is what it's talking about, man. All right, so let me unshare this. All right, let me stop sharing. All right, because what I want to do is I want to get that example of the grinding or the grinders ceasing. Okay, to cease means to stop. Okay. So let's go here. Let's go to Google. All right. Because the brother posted this, all right, in the chat. All right. So I wanted to go ahead and share it, man. And this is a good thing to bring out in a lesson. Okay. It says Timberland. Now we know this guy. All right. He's a music producer. Okay. He's an American music producer. All right. I actually grew up listening to this guy. Okay. Timberland signs an AI artist. Okay. An artificial intelligence artist. Okay. Not a human. All right. He didn't go out there and get somebody with some type of talent. All right. Which is usually an Israelite. All right. No matter how they look, it's usually an Israelite with that talent. All right. And try to exploit that talent from that Israelite. No, he went and got an artificial demon, okay, to be an artist. Look, Timberland signs AI artist Tata to his new label, Stage Zero record label. Okay. All right. And this is the first time that this has been done. Okay. That's why it's breaking news, right? You see Vice, iHeart, Billboard, AV Club. You see, that's why they're posting about this, man. Okay. This is the new artist. Matter of fact, let's see if we can get yeah, some images, okay, of this new artist. Okay. Look, here's the artist right here. Okay. Come on. Supposed to pull it up right here. Here's the new artist. Okay. Guess what? This is not even a person. All right. It's not even real. All right. This is an artificial intelligence. All right. You see, this is artificial intelligence right here. All right. So an AI artist is going to be making your music, and guess what? Moving forward, you don't think if this artist is able to be successful, okay? Because people don't care about who's making the music; they just want to hear it. If it's good music, they're going to listen to it. All right, you see, because what the daughters of music are being brought low. Okay, the music is trash right now. All right, so if this artist is able to be successful, all right, you see, then what do you think the other record labels are going to do? All right. They're gonna go and get more artificial artists. Okay. Artificial intelligence artists. Okay. Now why would this contribute to uh the grinding ceasing? Okay, number one, all right, what's obvious is that people or Israelites in America, all right, chasing a dream, right, is going to be there's going to be less of you getting signed. Okay. You see, there's going to be less opportunities for you to express your talent and get paid from it. Okay, which is what? Which is going into that word grinding. Okay, or grinder, right? Which is what? Employment. You see, so you're not going to be able to display or give out that service for a dollar. Okay, so that you can work and eat and survive. Okay, now let's go here. All right. Because I want to bring out some facts. Okay. Because I know you're gonna have scoffers inside of the comment section saying, you know, wild things. All right, bugging out. Okay. So let's go here. All right. So I Googled how many staff workers are at a record label. Now, that was my job. Okay. Or my field of work, all right, back in the world. Okay, I was in the music industry. Okay, so I know, I've seen up close and personal how many staff workers are at these buildings and at these record labels, man. Okay, and you have lots of people. A lot of people depend on one artist, all right, or whatever whoever the successful artist is. Okay, they depend on the success of that artist, all right, so that they can what feed their families, man. Okay, so that they can make money. Okay, they can keep grinding. You see, they can keep their employment. All right. So I put in how many staff workers are at a record label. Okay. Now look, this is the updated version. It says the number of staff workers at a record label varies significantly depending on whether it's a major label or an independent label. All right. Major labels typically have employees around 30 people. Okay, while independent labels often have only one or two. Okay, so this is updated. So I also typed in this, right? All right, because I was in the music industry around, within the 2000s. Okay, all right. So let's see. Yep. So I typed this in. How many staff workers are at a record label in the 2000s? Okay, So that's 2000, 2001, 2, 3, all the way up. Okay. And notice it says it here. Okay. It says in the 2000s, the number of staff workers at a record label in the United States saw a decline. Okay. All right. Look, let me see. It actually showed how many staff here. Let me try to do it again. Sometimes it does that. Give me an answer, AI. And it doesn't. Okay. Whatever. But look, right here, it says there are currently about 4,000 people employed by major record labels, all right, in the United States. Okay. So you have a lot of people. Okay. All right. It says the number of people employed by record labels has been on a decline since 2000. Why? Because the daughters of music have been brought low. Okay. All right. Plus the invention of what? The internet. Okay. All right. In the early 2000s, I'm pretty sure brothers have heard about that. If you have not, all right, Google it. Okay. The emergence of what is that, LimeWire? Okay, look up LimeWire. Okay. All right. You can go on there and you can type in your favorite artists, all right, and just download their entire album. You don't have to buy it. Okay. And what effect does that have? That these record labels, they don't get money. Okay. And so what do they have to do? They don't have enough money to pay their workers, so they have to cut down. See? And that happened more and more, as we get up to today. Okay. So it says when there were about 7,000 people employed in the industry, you see. So there's a lot of people, and you can't just look at those people that work at the record label, 7,000 people, all right, seven being completion, but you also have to look at their families, man. Okay, they have kids at home, they have wives or husbands, and family, outside of their household, their mothers and their fathers and their uncles and cousins and stuff depend on them, you see, to bring in that money from their place of employment. Okay, like a record label, you see. So it's actually more than 7,000 people that are being affected, you see. All right. And that number has been brought down, you see. All right. So the grinding is ceasing, man. All right. And now you have this AI artist, right? You have this artificial artist that Timberland, all right, one of the biggest producers in the world, has signed, you see. And it's just a sign that we're moving towards, all right, more unemployment. Okay. A higher number of unemployment. Now, also typed in this. Let me see if I can let me see. Yep. How many jobs have been lost so far just this year? Okay, let's just go off of this year. All right. How many jobs have been lost in the United States so far in 2025? Okay. And as you can see here, it says in 2025, as of May, okay, the United States have experienced over 500,000 job losses. Okay. Over 500,000 job losses, man. Okay. Specifically, 1.9 million people have permanently lost their jobs within this period. See? All right. Now they actually had numbers. I don't know if it's going to pop up. Okay. But they actually showed the numbers. All right. But 500,000 people have lost their just this year. Look in 2025. All right. So from January 2025 to May. All right. To May. You see, 500,000 people have lost their jobs. And most of those people are what? You so-called black women. All right. Which is beautiful, by the way. All right. It's beautiful to see these the women of Israel. Okay. All right. Not just the so-called black woman, but the so-called Latino woman, the so-called Mexican woman. Okay. You're next. All right. You're going to be losing your jobs too. Okay. All right. Because you women have to be humble, but we're not going to get into the woman, man. Okay. Let's get back to the point. Okay. The point is that the grinding is ceasing, man. All right. People are losing their jobs at an alarming rate. Okay. And you're being replaced by who? Artificial intelligence. Okay. And it's going to become more and more prevalent. Okay. Why? Because we're moving into a new image. So let me get that. All right. So let me stop sharing the screen here. I got to go one by one. All right. Matter of fact, let me get the precept first. All right. And then we'll get the definition. Okay. So let me go here. All right. And I want to type in the book of Revelation. Okay. Let's go to prophecy. Book of Revelation, chapter 13. Okay. All right, because what's coming? That new image. Okay, that's literally the definition of the new world order. Okay, that new world image. Okay, all right. So let's go down Revelation chapter 13. All right, and we'll go to verse 15, and it reads, "And I heard it's like, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast." Okay, all right. This new Roman Empire, which is America. Okay, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, to bring it to life. Okay, so that it could be bright and vibrant and live and thrive. Right. It says, the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak. All right, you're gonna hear it. Right, you're gonna hear about it, and you're gonna and soon you will be living in it. Okay. It says, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast. If you don't get down with this new a way of life, right, should be killed. Okay, you're going to be cut off. All right, you're not going to be able to live. All right, what is living? Being able to, man, I'm hungry. Let me go buy some food to eat. You see, well, you're not going to be able to do that. You see, under this new image, if you don't get down with this new image. Okay, now let me do this. All right, so like I got to keep switching screens. All right, but now let's go to the definition of the word image. All right, I want to go into the etymology because there's a certain point that needs to be brought out. Okay, so when you go into the etymology of the word image, okay, it says all of this here, but notice it says down here, okay, figuratively an idea. Okay, figuratively an idea. All right, an appearance. You see. So this is what that's going to be. Okay, this is the idea of this new world order. Okay, all right, the idea that, hey, look, we're gonna refashion, all right, the way the world is ran. Okay, all right, it's not going to be ruled over by the USD or the United States dollar. Okay, you see, it's going to be ruled by digital dollars. Okay, digital currency. Okay. Everything is going to be digital, AI, technology. See? All right. And ultimately, that technology within that image, that idea, all right, is going to come through what? The idea of piercing. Okay. That's going to be a part of that new image. Okay. So let's go to that and then we'll close it out. All right. Because like I said, this is a quick one. All right. So let's go back to Revelation chapter 13. All right. Let's keep reading. Revelation 13 and 16. And he causeth, who's the he? Who is he? All right, Esau, Edom, man, the elite banking families. All right, the wicked, the rulers of the earth. Okay. It says, and he causeth all, both small and great, all right, young and old, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark within their right hand or their foreheads. Okay. So this is the whole spectrum is going to be covered. Everyone that is on the planet Earth, okay, is going to have to get down with this new image. All right, especially here in America. Now, when you go into that word mark, as we do always here at Great Millstone, all right, it's the Greek word charagma. All right, charagma. Okay, which is the RFID C hip. Okay, don't let any of these camps fool you. Okay, it's obvious. It's the mark of the beast. Okay, isn't it obvious? All right, it says, look, a scratch or etching, a stamp. All right, but notice, let's go down here. All right, let's see. Right here, of a mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as a badge of the followers of the, yeah, okay, you see. All right, but this is what you're going to need to have, all right, to get down with that new image. Okay, let's go into the root word here. All right, karax. Okay, the root word of charagma is karax. Okay, all right, which is a what? Look, through the idea, that image, okay, through the idea, all right, of scratching a stake, i.e., by implication, all right, a palisade, a ramp, okay, all right, which is uh 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 let's see, it's a mirror, all right, a palisade or a stake, okay, that you put into the ground, all right, is a mirror of a needle, okay, and what's going to be inside of that needle? All right, the RFID chip. Okay. You see? Matter of fact, here, let's do this. We'll come back to that. All right, let's do this. For those that are new. All right, let's do this. All right, let's type in watch this. We're just gonna type in RFID chip. Salakia. Why I did that. RFID chip. Okay. Let's go to the images. Okay. All right. Because how are they going to insert this rice device, okay, within your right hand or your left hand or even your forehead? How are they going to do that? They're going to do it by this. See? This is the palisade or the stake right here. Okay. All right. And just like that palisade or that stake, all right, is being poked into the ground, this is going to be poked within your underneath your skin. It's gonna leave this device, all right, this device right here, all right, with underneath your skin. All right. You see? And that's not far fetched. People are already walking around with this device already in them. Okay. And they're already locked in within this new image, all right, this new idea of how the world is going to be ran. You see? All right. So it's not far fetched. So let's go back. All right. Let's go back to Karax. All right. Let's go back to Karax. All right. Which is what? Through the idea, the image, right, of scratching a steak or, poking you up under the skin. Okay. All right. And leaving within you that mark of the beast, which is the RFID C hip. Now let's keep reading. Okay. Verse 17, Revelation 13 and 17, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that hath the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. You see? All right. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding, which is only the men of the Lord, okay, which is a select few men. All right. Count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, okay, and that man is Esau Edom, okay, that son of perdition, okay, that man of sin. All right, it says, and his number is 603 score and six. Okay, you see, which is what I just want to go into it really, really quickly. All right, I don't want to make this a mark of the beast lesson. Okay, but all right, it stems back to that. Okay, all right, because that's what Esau is going to do. All right, he's going to afflict pain and suffering upon you people. He's going to put you in a suffering state. Okay, no jobs, no money. All right, you're going to be homeless. You're going to be broke. You're going to be thirsty. You're going to be hungry. Okay, and ultimately you're going to be hungry for salvation, to be delivered from that pain and that agony. All right, that you people are not used to going through. Okay, you people are spoiled here in America, man. Okay, you're used to everything being microwavable. Okay, delivered to you in seconds. I don't have to cook, I can order it. you know I don't have to have children, I can go get a surrogate. You see, I don't have to do that. I don't need a man. I could just go sell pictures of my feet, and have men purchase it. I can make money like that and take care of my own self. You see? All right. You people aren't used to suffering, but that's the state that Esau is going to put you in, okay? Is a state of suffering, and then he's going to come as a savior or the image of a savior, okay? And deliver you this new image. And a part of that new image is going to be this what? That a mark of the beast, that RFID chip. Look, 603 score and six is Chi Psi Stigma. Okay. Chi Psi Stigma. Okay. All right. 603 score and six. All right. Meaning which is the basis of the main vein spec. Okay, whatever. You see? All right. All right. And you people are going to be a barcode, okay? Sheep, cattle, okay, that are going to be branded with this mark, okay? So that you can get a job, or you can find your place within a society, okay, via maybe a 15-minute city, okay? All right. Being given an allowance. You're not going to be able to stack money up. No, 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 no. You are required to get this money, this amount of money, $1,000 a month. You see, as an example. All right. So the grinders are ceasing, man. All right. But it's going to lead to that pain and that suffering so that Esau Edom can give you that what? That MOTB, that charagma, that RFID chip. So I'm going to leave it there. Lord willing, it's edifying to the body and it fed the sheep through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai. All right. Shalom and a Baba Ball.